Hello everyone, it's Tania Gabrielle here, Wealth Astronumerologist. Welcome to Star Codes, and today we're going to look at the Gemini full moon on December 12, 12/12, a very exciting lunation, the final lunation before the eclipses begin at the end of December and start the new decade in January. We always have pairs of eclipses. Occasionally there are three, but usually there are two, and they end the decade and begin the decade. So this is the final lunation before that, and it's very exciting, happening on 12/12, December 12th. It actually activates a quadruple 12/12/12/12 gateway, and that is because December is also the 12th month. The 12th of December, of course, is a 12 universal day, and we are in a 12 universal year in 2019. So that's the third 12, and the final 12 is that the full moon happens at 12 past the hour. And East Coast time, New York, it actually happens at 12:12 a.m. So for you guys, it's actually a quintuple 12 code. Really extraordinary when you consider that 12 is the number of learning, of exploring. We had it activated on November 12th as well for the Taurus full moon, if you remember. 12 is the number of learning, of creativity, of expressing the wisdom that you've acquired, of expansion in terms of self-growth and self-awareness. And that is the key here, is your creative self-expression that is based on your soul code, who you are at soul level. So we're going to look at the impact of this theme throughout the Gemini full moon, the impact of Gemini itself, the extremely rare triple conjunction that is happening right during the full moon between Venus, Pluto, and Saturn, activating or pre-activating the conjunction with Saturn and Pluto. This is very rare for Venus to be together with Saturn and Pluto. Really powerful, powerful moment. And then we'll also look at the powerful message that will help you alleviate anxiety and really take spiritual authority of your life. And then we're going to end with wonderful tips and how you can leverage this very dynamic Gemini full moon. So that's what we're covering today. So full moons always create a monthly heightening of energy, emotional energy that brings things to a culmination. And in this case, because it's the final full moon of the whole decade, it has a lot of meaning. So when we look at, first of all, this number 12, it reduces to 3. So I want to point out here that December in 2019 is a 15 universal month, which reduces to 6. And the date 12/12/2019 adds up to 18, which is a 9. And that means we are activating the complete 369 triad in numerology. This is the emotional triad of love and self-expression and compassion. So it is about creation. So you feel highly creative around this full moon. You feel a great desire to express your emotions, your imagination, joy, love. It is really about service, about nurturing and listening to your dreams and making sure you go into that wonderful intuitive imagination place to activate what your vision is, what your dream is. So your feelings, your heart center will be really expanded during this Gemini full moon. And because it's the final full moon of the decade, and it's the final lunation before the eclipses, which begin on December 25th, 26th, depending on where you live, this is the time to really devote to discover who you are, self-awareness-wise, before the holidays begin, before we turn and step over the threshold into the 2020s. And in order, obviously, to help you with that, it's really good to know what your birth date and birth name mean, and also the numbers in your astrology birth chart, which I cover for you in starcodeclass.com. It's a fun, free masterclass that you can take at any time that you like, and just you get a handout and you get a really good insight into who you are and who the people in your life are, and that allows you to come into every situation with awareness, with understanding, with a lot of wisdom, which is exactly what the number 12 wants you to do. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And Mercury and Gemini govern obviously the mind, the message, but also Gemini governs motion, activity, communication skills, facts and information, writing, speaking. You look at how you assimilate thoughts, how you assimilate information, how you digest it and turn it into conversations, right? So Gemini governs movement and curiosity. It's an air sign. So it is not a sign of stability necessarily. It's a sign of moving to another level. So later we're going to discover how you can use your mind that will liberate you from those lower vibrational distractions that we all have by putting all this heightened energy into practice. What definitely sets this Gemini full moon apart is that it occurs at the very same time as this extremely rare triple conjunction between Venus, Pluto, and Saturn. Now, the moon actually connects to the triple conjunction via a quincunx, also called inconjunct. It's 150 degrees, and the moon is exactly 150 degrees from this inconjunct. Very, very exciting. So let's look more closely at this conjunction, what it means, and how it will impact you for most of the month of December. So Saturn is part of it, Pluto and Venus. Saturn asks you to mature and take responsibility for your feelings, your emotions, your flow of money, and love relationships. Pluto transforms your values and purges unnecessary attachments to the past, to, past paradigms, to past structures. It empowers you emotionally from within. And so energy is coming to a head, and Venus adds love and creativity and pleasure and the flow of money in terms of the topics that are being addressed. Pretty much all the personal topics, right? Besides health. But so energy is coming to a head, relationships are being brought into balance, situations are coming to a tipping point so that you can make big and small adjustments at the end of the year, at the end of the decade, before the 2020s begin. So Venus conjunct Saturn, let's look at that first. That means that any relationships, any companionships, any intimate connections that you have with anyone is based on a sense of solid trust, solid principles. The idea that true love between friends or intimate partnerships will last with the core relationship traits of loyalty, trust, honesty, integrity, commitment, responsibility, sensitivity, respect. So what you need to do is to meet your own emotional needs first, and then you'll be centered and able to nurture and understand others, meet their emotional needs as well, so that you can be in this wonderful give and take, right? So that means you need to not judge how you feel, first of all, and not judge how others feel. So refrain from judgment, but also refrain from restriction. So Saturn can restrict sometimes. And Saturn will come in and try to pare down emotions. So you have to be very careful to not refrain from expressing yourself when you have something to say. Instead, do it with maturity. So give your imagination a structured platform, for example. Venus wants you to create, and so Venus wants you not to suppress your creativity, but have some kind of structure so that you have a plan on how to put it into action. So intimate relationships will take on a more serious tone, which is good if you want secure, long-lasting connections. And there is a deeper commitment, of course, with Saturn conjunct Venus. Now, Venus conjunct Pluto is very much about passionate love, your desire for affection, which really, really deepens. You feel very attractive, very magnetic. You can go into deep personal conversations here. This is really enhanced by a Gemini, which governs connection, communication, conversations because of Mercury. So you can really have a major impact, instrumental impact on the people in your life and they on your life when you share your love freely and seek out the beauty, the Venusian beauty and pleasure in your connections. And it also helps with financial flow because Venus is the ruler of the second house in astrology, which governs abundance and your values. So it deepens those values. It deepens how you are using your energy to enhance abundance in your life. And then, of course, we have Pluto conjunct Saturn, and that's the big event happening on January 12th. And there's the number 12 again. Keep that in mind. But here's the thing, you are totally going to be changing how you communicate, how you think, how you have conversations, what words you choose to use, what your vision is, how you're messaging, not Facebook messaging, I mean your core message of what you stand for. And the reason is that Mercury is also part of the stellium on January 12th. And this is the Gemini full moon, which Mercury rules. So this is why it's so important to pay attention now in December. I mean, Saturn and Pluto are already very much together. They're only a couple degrees apart or less at this point. So we are truly in the conjunction now. I mean, it is active now. So you are much more willing to work to bring your goals to life. Reality is clearly visible. And if you're in a relationship or you have a business plan or project or you have a physical item that is not working properly, that needs to be fixed, this is the time to release it or fix it. So please pay attention to all of that because we are going to be entering a moment here in our life where things are being readjusted and things are being released. And that includes your beliefs, right? It's very important to understand that Jupiter also is going to be in Capricorn at this point. In early December, Jupiter enters Capricorn. Jupiter governs our beliefs. So this is truly a remarkable moment. So you'll need patience, you'll need determination. They are greatly heightened with Saturn conjunct Pluto. They will help you navigate all the shifts with flexibility and with efficiency as well. Because there's a powerful urge to change and transform. And you're being supported to change and transform. You're being supported in a way that is giving you so much confidence. Pluto is all about leadership and empowerment. So you will feel renewed and you will see things you haven't seen before. Remember, we're entering the 2020s. 2020 vision is going to be totally unbelievably freeing, liberating for those of you, those of us who are willing to see the truth. So just be patient because the transformation is real. And what's helping it is this quincunx from the moon. So the moon is forming a triple quincunx, 150 degrees to Venus, Pluto, and Saturn. This is going to enhance your communication skills tremendously because love coming from the moon and financial flow are both in the spotlight. Internal feelings of love and compassion are in the spotlight in terms of give and take in your relationships. Nourishing your feelings is very important. So if anything seems out of place or intensified, it's going to bring healing because the moon is the mother principle and it's coming in during this Capricorn experience, right? Which is a father principle, and they're coming together and you're going to really be able to nurture and activate what brings pleasure, what brings beauty, what truly inspires you in terms of love, right? Not just in terms of taking the lead and being in control of your destiny. That's all very powerful energy in play now as well. And it's going to be very much the theme for 2020. But the moon is saying, okay, connect to your inner genius as well. Connect to your intuition. Innovate. Then the moon quincunx Saturn-Pluto conjunction means that you are taking your feelings seriously. You're not saying that what you're feeling is not as important as what you're thinking or what the paradigm or the past expects you to follow in any way. So you need to release that guilt. You need to release that fear regarding relationships or just, basically you need to step up and take the lead with emotional commitment because the moon is coming in and saying your goals will not complete to your own internal satisfaction if you don't have full emotional passion and commitment invested. Otherwise, you're going to get sidetracked, and we're going to look at that in a little bit, for lack of direction or a lack of commitment and confidence. So the empowerment actually is fueled by your passionate engagement. And this is what the moon is helping you tap into. The excitement and drive of your core feelings are the fuel that takes you to the level where you can truly act confidently and true to who you are on, whatever projects you're focusing on. So since your responsibilities are really deepening now, you want to understand that your inner authority that is coming through now in a bigger way than ever before, it first awakens your heart. It first purges any fears you have, makes them visible, first of all, so that you can see them. That's the 2020 that we're moving into. And then because you are confronting them, because you're receiving that feedback and you're saying, okay, this is just interference energy, you then can move forward with your quest for success. The Saturn, Pluto, total, where you basically are not allowing anyone to dominate you. So you're becoming self-aware is a major component of this full moon. And that includes diving into metaphysical subject matters, into esoteric subject matters in order to understand who you are at soul level. It also means uncovering what was formerly hidden or a secret, unconsciously buried, because Pluto is bringing it all to the surface. And Saturn is saying, okay, it's here. Now what are you going to do? What structure are you going to build in its place, right? So that's a huge major benefit of this transit. So it's another reason to really know who you are. What code were you born with? What star code was in play at the moment of your birth? And you can find that out, of course, in the free masterclass I created for you at starcodeclass.com. So be sure, as we move into the next decade, that you take that masterclass and have a really wonderful understanding, a self-understanding. So now we need to look at how we can take advantage of the Gemini full moon. And fortunately, there is a wonderful aspect in play during the full moon, and that is Jupiter trine Uranus. Now, Jupiter plays a major role because it is entering Capricorn in early December. So it actually is part of the big event that's happening in January. And that is really, really good news. And I'll go into that in the ultimate yearly forecast that will take place on December 10th. So I urge you to sign up for that as well. It is my once a year event, 4 hours long, with a Q&A where you can find out about what is going to happen next year and prepare and leverage the star code energies. So there's going to be a link below. You can click on that if you want to sign up. It's a fantastic way to set yourself up for tremendous success and joy. So I'll go into that a lot more in that forecast. But Jupiter is trine to Uranus during this full moon, and they're coming together in December. And this is such a fortunate transit for lucky breaks. It's a great time to take a risk, to feel liberated, to feel optimistic about creating successful outcomes. And it's because your sense of freedom and openness to be broad and see beyond the horizon that allows you to break through those boundaries to create, self-imposed boundaries, to create positive change in your life. So Jupiter governs expansion, higher learning, faraway travel. So you may delve more deeply, grow in unexpected ways, and learn things very, very quickly because that's Uranus. Uranus is about that intellectual capacity to take in any kind of subject matter, no matter how esoteric it is, new languages, art, music, dance, style, entertainment. It's a sense of adventure that helps you acclimate to and anticipate the great results beyond that horizon. So this is so, so beautiful to have this event during the final full moon of the decade, this Jupiter-Uranus event. Uranus is currently in Taurus. Taurus is so stable, right? This is such a beautiful sign for us to experience freedom in because it does govern our values and honesty and security, and it governs pleasure as well. So now let's look at some tips and takeaways to help you put this beautiful Gemini full moon into action and leverage it in your personal and professional life. So Gemini being the sign of motion, communication skills, facts, information, curiosity, writing, speaking. It's also the sign of effective listening and teaching. So understanding different viewpoints, the Gemini, the twins, the two different versions, right? Two different ideas. Awareness of options. Again, the twins, there's two options, right? It's variety, it's quick thinking, it's enjoying the moment and having ingenuity about how you live your life, having that fun, the value of fun. Gemini rules relationships based on proximity. So that would be your siblings, your neighbors, your schoolmates, your roommates, the fellow people you work with, right? I mean, it is anything that is proximity related. So it's very important during this time to learn how to step outside some of the complexity that can happen in those relationships, and also the mind games because of Mercury's impact. So whatever you need to do to not partake in the systems, again, this is Saturn Pluto conjunction, that are governing the world is really important. So however it is that you commit yourself to stepping outside of that paradigm, those systems, that Capricornian paradigm that's been in play and impacted your life all this time and distracting you from your soul and from what you love and your imagination, you need to step aside, whether it's shutting off your phone or putting it on airplane mode or giving yourself just 20 minutes to be outside in nature. Do whatever it takes at this point to step outside that paradigm. And this means also in your languaging, your conversation, to not speak unless you're inspired. So you need to step up, you need to do that at this time to prepare you, because after all, you are a living soul, a living human being. You're full of light, you're full of love. You are part of this divine creation. You are divine intelligence. You were born that way as an innocence baby, and you have this amazing ability at your disposal at any time. So just remember, if you feel darkness in your life, the darkness only wins when you don't shine your light. The darkness only wins when you don't shine your light. When you shine your light, everyone around you who is masked in those shadows of the paradigm, the old ways, the fears, the guilt, they're released from those fears and they come towards the light within you. So we all need to do that. We need to spread light and love. We need to let it all flow beyond our wildest imagination, beyond horizons, beyond infinity, and accept those infinite blessings that await you. When you strip away that mental anguish, that anxiety, the mind games, the mind control that's been imposed on you since day one, right? And not necessarily consciously, mostly unconsciously, because the people who imposed it on you were also under the impact. And now's the time that we are being given the tools and the energy to break free, to strip away, to simplify our lives, to embrace only the essentials, the spiritual essentials. That is truly the moment that we are entering at this time. So no matter what happens, turn to the light, turn to love. Be that being that shines your integrity with joy. And remember that the darkness will only win when you don't shine your light. But it will never, ever be able to take over when you reveal your beauty, your joy, your incredible divine intelligence and divine love, which is in you and always has been. When you do that, there is nothing that will stop you. So keep that in mind as we turn the page here this month and have a beautiful Gemini full moon make sure you invest some time in that free masterclass at starcodeclass.com. It's a beautiful time to just get to know who you are at soul level and also understand the people who are dear to you in your life as we head into the holidays. So I wish you only the best, lots of love and light, and I'll see you next week in our next Star Code podcast. Bye-bye for now.